Hello, we got another program in Chapter 15 that we're going to go over. Chapter 15 is a rather large chapter. Okay, we already have a program that involves traffic lights with that deals with buttons, and those buttons have on-action listeners, and that's a good program. But 15 goes into events in a little bit more detail. So what you see here is actual code that's in the textbook. And I didn't touch it. I didn't embellish it at all. I'm going to embellish it. I'm going to make it look better. This is code that you might want to use for your next homework assignment. The next homework assignment involves you reading keys. And well, I can tell you, it's basically a little draw application where you draw out figures based on the keys that you strike on your keyboard. So you might as well learn how to deal with keys using this program here. This is the start. Key event demo. You could tell right off the bat I'm not going to like this program because the start method isn't very short. He mixes panes and all sorts of logic inside the start method, which I guess works, but it's not the way you do things. Okay, you pay me to show you the right way to do things, and so try to follow along with all these sample programs that I give you. Follow along, and I try to be consistent with the way I want to do things. But anyway, let's run this program. You could see what it does here. Okay, let's take a look. We run it. Oh, it's not very big. There it is. Okay, we'll have to fix that too. Okay, you see a little A here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that A by just hitting my arrow keys. I'm hitting the right arrow, down arrow. Okay, basically that's what I got here. I'm just moving those arrow keys along. And right off the bat, I'm going to tell you right now that I'm hitting the left arrow consistently. And it's the A is right off the screen somewhere over here. Now, that's a little disconcerting because now if I go right arrow, I'm hitting the right arrow a lot, and I'm not even sure. Oh, there it is. I wouldn't be able to tell you when exactly that A would come along because you really don't know how far to on the outskirts of this app you really are. So we're going to fix that. And not too exciting. Oh, if I hit the letter H or G or whatever, that little character changes. So still not too exciting, but I'm giving you the rudimentary idea of how to deal with events when you deal with a keystroke. So let's kill this program right now. And the long and the short of it is I have to create a pane. I don't want any of those specialty panes. I don't need a grid pane. I don't need a stack pane, flow panes. Those panes take their children and lay them out in the way they were designed. I don't want that. I want a regular normal pane, and I'm going to position the components the way I want. Now, the only component that's going to be in that pane is going to be a text field. Okay, that text field, not really a text, I'm sorry, not a text field, a text shape. That's what they call it, just a normal text shape. It's going to be positioned at X, Y 2020, and the text is the letter A. And I'm going to add that to the pane. Okay, wonderful. I take that pane, dump it into here. Right off the bat, when I started off that application, and it was very, very small, I was a little bothered by that. Let's make that pane 400. That's even too big. 200 by 200. And what happens is, if I go ahead and run it again, you should see a bigger window. There it is. That's a little bit better, where I can move this thing around here. Good. So set the title. That's this title. Take the scene. Set the scene. The scene in turn is a pane, which basically just displays that little A here. Show it. But now we're going to take it one step further, where we're not going to deal with set on action. See, set on action is a high-level event. A high-level event, but usually you attach those high-level events to buttons, and those buttons go ahead and execute code. This is a little bit lower level, where what we're doing is we're setting on key pressed. So the event that we're setting is set on key pressed, okay? And this will basically process keystrokes, okay? Keystrokes, raw keystrokes. No actions per se, but just raw keystrokes. And when you're dealing with mice, a mouse event, there's a whole variety of mice events, but they set on mouse pressed or something like that. Those are low-level events that I'm handling, and so this is the event I'm taking a look at. You can see if I hover over that E, okay, the method that gets executed is a method that takes as a parameter a key event. Now, we didn't do much with that key event or that event with the on action because we really didn't need anything there. Here we're going to really beat to death the event that gets sent to our method here. Okay. Now, for sure, what we want to do is any key that gets that gets pressed, and you can see we're attaching this listener, set on key pressed listener, to the text field itself. I particularly don't like that technique, but I'm going to fix it the way a little bit later. But you could attach any event listener to any object you want. I would have probably put it on the pane, and that pane would take a look at the event and delegate response, and it'll decide what to do with that keystroke. But here you have no choice in the matter. If I go ahead and press a key on that text, then you're going to you're stuck only dealing with the text field. But at any rate, that text field gets this method, it gets a keystroke, and this is important. What's the code that's associated with that key? Every key that you have on your keyboard has an assigned code. Now, you don't need to know what those numbers are. They're just numbers that say they're not ASCII values. They're actually raw codes that the industry has accepted as, if I hit the letter T, then the number 101 should come back out. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's a raw number. And so if I hit the down, this is something that's defined inside the key, the input key code down. Okay, that if I hit the down arrow, then I guess my intention is to move that character down. Okay, this is up, left, right. And if it's none of those four, it could be just the letter T or the Y that I pressed. What I'm going to do is say, well, get the text representation of that keystroke, if it exists. Okay, now if I hit the up arrow, there is no text representation of that key. Those up arrows, returns, delete keys, they don't have text associated with them. So I know that because if I check the length of that text, if it's bigger than 0, then it's an actual keystroke that has a textual representation. What I would do is I would grab the text that I know exists and then set the text to the text field, and then that A will turn into H or whatever I press it. And so if it's going down, look what I'm doing here. I'm setting the Y value of the text field. Whatever the current value is, add 10. Now when I'm adding 10, what you're really doing is going down. It's a different coordinate system than you're used to in math. Okay, so if I add 10, I'm going down. Up means I'm going up. Remember, 0, 0 is over here at that point of the window. So if I add 10, I'm going down in the Y direction, and the X direction seems normal. If I add 10 to that, it goes in the normal direction here. But so if I'm going up, okay, I would take that Y value and decrement by 10. X, if I go left, I go in that direction. I go right, I go in the right direction, add 10, and then break out of those things. And so, problem with this code is, geez, I could be standing on the right arrow key, and the X value of this could be 1,000,000, and I won't know where that string is. So what I'm going to do in my next version is Don't execute this code willy-nilly. I mean, only execute it is if the character is within sight. Okay, then you would execute it. And then, so we're going to fix that next. Okay, now this is important. Okay, since they went out of their way to set the event on the text field, you've got to make sure that the focus of your events is the event that's dealing with the event here. Otherwise, you're not going to see this action here. So request to focus. So if that text field requests to focus, then you'll see this working. And you can see that it basically functions. Now, again, there's a lot wrong with this program. I'm hitting the down arrow. All right, so we're going to make it better. Let's make it better. So here's what I did to make it better. First off, what I did was I copied this code, and I call it keydrawingapp.java. That's the second version. And you could see right off the bat there's some embellishments that I've made here. Okay, basically the same thing. Well, you know what I'm going to do here? Start using this set preferred size. Okay, the pane is just a raw pane that's 0 pixels by 0 pixels. You got to give it some size. And so that's what I'm doing there. Make the pane, the preferred size, to be 400 pixels by 400 pixels. Same text shape, but I can barely see that letter A. So why don't we just set the font of that text field to be some bold 20-point Arial font, and that's how you do that. So if we run this, we get a much bigger keystroke here. There you go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, but also, see, I'm hitting the right arrow a lot, or actually the left arrow a lot. But you know what? If I hit the right arrow once, it's within view. So it's a little bit better. Okay. Now another thing that I did was I said I don't like the idea of having the text field actually deal with the events. I want the pane itself to deal with keystrokes, because the pane could have multiple components in there, and then the pane can decide what to do with the keystroke based on its specifications. But it's whatever. It's the way I choose the program. This is the pane. I set the on key of pressed event there. Pretty much the same thing, but this logic here basically is logic that says, hey, if I'm going down and the character is within sight, then go ahead and execute, then add 10 to that. So the idea is this, and to understand this code, you really need to know where the X and Y is to a text field. Let me push it all the way down. I'm going to go push it all the way down here. I'm standing on the down arrow. Okay, it's still within sight right there. Okay, now X, Y is on the baseline. This is where this is the get X, get Y of that string right there. That's where that character is. So as long as it's still within the baseline, or I can see that, I'm hitting the down arrow, but I can get that character back immediately. Okay, so I think it's a little bit better. So I don't want to beat this logic to death. And this get bounds in local is just a method that lets me grab the height and the width of the character string. And with that, I can just use this logic to make sure I can set the X and Y properly. This didn't, other than I didn't like the idea of, we start off with a capital A and I hit H, I get lowercase h. Convert it to uppercase, just more consistent. Okay, once we have that, we go ahead and we add that to the children and do the same thing here. And the idea here is we've got to make sure that the pane gets the focus of these events. So after we add this to the GUI, then we can set to get focus here. Okay, next version. Let me copy this. Copy. And we're going to paste this. Paste. And we're going to it goes app 2. That's what I want. I have an app 3 here that I don't want to touch right now. App 3, we got app 2 there.